I am Michaela, reporting with Mao Zedong on the History Channel. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Can I ask you some questions?
Yes.
What was the start of the rivalry between the communists and the nationalists?
Well, during World War II, there became two opposite ways of living, which were welcomed into China.
When was nationalism founded, and what was the communism founded?
The nationalists were founded in 1928, and the communists in 1930.
When did you become the communist leader of China?
I became the communist leader of China in 1930s.
Was it a struggling competition with the nationalists?
Since they were pushing us on the Long March and they invaded China, they were growing more powerful. They began allying with other countries and getting aid from the U.S., and they were becoming unstoppable.
Did the people of China believe in the communism?
From my point of view, they did. Through using the Little Red Book, people began to understand my beliefs and how they were practiced.
What is the Little Red Book?
The Little Red Book is a book that I wrote about the rules and laws about communism inside of it.
What inspired you to write it?
What inspired me was that it helped China figure out what communism was, and it showed my beliefs to the people about what communism was and how you should follow it.
How did you organize the urban youth?
What I did was I took groups, and they were called the Red Guards.
What did you have them do?
I encouraged them to attack all traditional values and anything connected with the West.
Why were the teenagers perfect for the Red Guards?
They were perfect because in a way they were rebellious, fearless, and they were eager to fight, but at the same time they were irresponsible and they were really easy to manipulate.
What do you think was the main reason Japan's nationalism failed in the late 1940s?
Well, since Japan was allied with the U.S. and the U.S. was no longer supporting the nationalists, they became less powerful over time, and this gave us an advantage and to grow and dominate.
Who played the most important role in making China modern?
I would say the people.
What was the Cultural Revolution?
Well, it was a socio-political movement that took place in the People's Republic of China from 1966 to the 1976. It stated the goal was to enforce socialism in the country by removing capitalist and cultural elements from Chinese society and to impose Maoist orthodoxy within the party.
What were the effects of it?
It was an unheeded emotional wound to all of those who remember this dark chapter in the modern Chinese history, still to this day.
What are the reactionaries?
The reactionary is a person that's against the revolution. It was underway by 1958.
Do you believe it was a success?
I believe it was a complete failure. It was portrayed to be a successful industrialization overnight, but it actually led to a famine and 55 million deaths of Chinese citizens.
Why do you believe it failed?
Well, since we wanted to dominate overnight and make such an industrialization, that the products that we were producing were not as good as they were supposed to be, and they weren't great quality, so farmers could not expand and a famine arose.
What groups or classes did it mean to appeal?
The lower classes and the farmers.
Why do you believe you were a successful leader?
I believe that I was a successful leader because China was in need of one and they needed a change, and I was there to make the difference, and people believed in what I was saying.
What is propaganda, and why did the Chinese government decide to use this strategy?
Well, propaganda is information especially of a biased or misleading nature, and it's to use or to promote, publicize a particular political cause of point of view. The Chinese government used it because they wanted to brainwash, control, and trick the people, forcing them to lose the ability to think for themselves, which is what we did, and which is what the communists and nationalists did during this time.
Well, thank you very much for being with me today. That is all today,
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Deuces.